I'll describe my CV folder in this video. So first off, I checked out how many of my papers are on internet, papers that I published, scientific papers. So there are 3 of them, although I have like 6, I think. As the first author, I'll show the list right away. So this is the first one. I can close this. This is the first one. So this is I'm a first author. So this is a solution of input-output routines in a program library for digital signal processing architectures. It's implemented in assembly language. This is the description, and it was a part of a larger project of a compiler for digital signal processing architecture, so special purpose architectures. It's important to mention that these architectures are architectures with open pipeline, meaning that almost all stages of instruction processing are visible to the user, and in this case user is not some regular user but a programmer, that is engineer. The second one is about one component of compiler, again for digital signal processing architecture, so special purpose architecture, again with open pipeline, and this is for splitting program blocks, which is caused by limitations of hardware loops, so loops that are supported by hardware. When something is supported by hardware, it means it's way faster and more effective. So again, I'm the first author here. Let me show you. So that was the second one. And the third one, I'm not the first author here. This is again on limitation of system for developing compilers, again for digital signal processing architectures, and again with open pipeline. So that's basically it. And of course, as all of these papers that I just showed you are related to projects that are tested in detail. So those projects had verification and validation phase as it should be in detailed verification and validation phase as it should be in science, which is something that is usually missing in science. So this is something that I haven't added, so these papers is something that I haven't added to my folder, so the GDrive folder of containing papers related to my CV. So its name is Final 2, and this is my YouTube channel. So in my YouTube channel I have this video which contains all the addresses of GDrive folders, and one of them is this Final 2, which contains CV folder. So I'm not logged in. This is my channel. This is the file, but again I'll put the link to this folder in the description of this video. So if I right click, you can do anything but examine what's here. So it's read only. So these are the files that are here. So I'll look at I'll show you the local version because I had some problems with memory. My other machine, which has a huge memory, has a problem with power supply, so I'm using this machine on the boot camp, which is limited. So this is another folder, and there is another folder. So I have these two folders because I didn't have a signed paper with those projects I was involved in. So I used the emails from people that hired me. They practically confirmed what I wrote in the description of the project. So these are just two versions. It's the same. One is document and the other is PDF. So this is my detailed CV. This is my MSc, master thesis, and again two versions, document, PDF, and this is confirmation from that society where I published, scientific society where I published papers, called ETRAN. I also published on one, not as a first author, but it's I think Bosnian society, scientific society, and this is something that I uploaded to my YouTube channel. It's exchange I had with one of the most prominent leading experts in JavaScript. So I never had any, before that I never had any project working with JavaScript, and especially because JavaScript, I've never worked with that type of language as well, but I managed to solve the problem from his book, from this guy Nicholas Zakas. He's a very popular author in the field of JavaScript and Ajax and web applications and programming languages in general. So I'll close this. Again, I'll link this. I'll link address of this folder. There are a lot of other folders here. I'll describe them later. So I actually described them, but YouTube removed my video. I'll probably link that video in because it's on GDrive. Actually, I can show you right now. It's let's see. It should be VSS. What? So it should be here. Yeah, this is the one. So you can watch it. It contains a lot of other data, and besides all those data, it contains the description of other folders within this parent folder. So I'll just close this. So this works. These are some other two folders. This is description. So I'll close this and go to the local version. So this is a mirrored version of the folder. Okay, so CV. This is my detail version, detailed description of projects. So it has some brief description on education. This is incorrect. Then oh, it blocks. Okay. Then experience and skills, and every project has a description on the duration. Then the tools, whether I worked as a part of the team or not, and so operating system, and so on and so on. In which phases I was engaged at, etc. So this is the list of in English, and this is in Serbian. So this is the list of papers I published as a first author, and that would be it. So next one is this is the list of projects that my mentor signed. So Miroslav Popovic is mentioned there. Then this confirmation on projects. So ETRAN, this is Scientific Society. So these are papers I've published. 6 of them, 4 as the first author, and this is incorrect. I wasn't mentor in this project, so this was the mentor, so it should be in second place. So this was a mistake. Okay, so that's it. This is the PR basically of the society. I can run this. So this is uploaded to my YouTube channel, and this is the exchange I had with this guy. I think is some sort of manager. Yeah, social publisher, whatever that means. He was also engaged in the conversation. So as you can see, I managed to solve the problem by which the guy who published that book, who wrote that book, wasn't able to solve. I mean, in some parts it was not very pleasant conversation, because he in the beginning ignored me. So this is the guy, and this is one of his books. So Nicholas Tsizakas, sorry. Okay, so that's it, and the last one is my master thesis. It's also related to compilers. So this is an optimization technique I implemented, the last optimization after 23 optimizations. So it was implemented using COZY, C-O-Z-Y, tool of at least, that was in 2007, actually 2005, at least at that time that was the name. So it was moving basically the instructions at the lowest possible level. After all, so that was the last optimization technique, and optimization is very important for every architecture, because if you don't have proper optimization, then your architecture won't be successful. You cannot compete with other producers in that field. Manufacturers, sorry. So this is my mentor. He signed that list. Okay, so there's the description, introduction, description, and so on and so on. And what's important here is the last part, which is usually omitted. This is when I started suspecting in official science, because of from all those references. So there were like 84 of them. There were only 2 that had the proper, well, there are some books, of course, but the ones that had that were actually the projects didn't have the proper validation and verification, which is which are parts in software development that are mandatory, and you basically prove your claim, initial claim, from the from your thesis, from your work, by going through those 2 phases properly. So this is COSI, and even those 2 papers actually use some external tests. So when that part when they came to that part, the most important part, when they should confirm everything they did, they simply skipped it. It was done very poorly. So let me see what I use here. Yeah, so this is the testing, the most important. So what is used here was MP3 encoder, then DRM, Digital Radio Mondiale, whatever that means, and DTS, Digital Theater System. I think that this was the most complex, when everything passed, and this, including this so-called super test. I think that name is now changed. It's not the same name now. And this is very expensive tool, by the way. And of course it needed a workstation, some blade, I think it was. So these are the results. How many knobs are removed? Knob is no operation instruction, which is used to put some useful instructions, so-called latency. So, for instance, when you have jump, you have latency of 6 instructions, 6 cycles, and you put knobs there, but then when you optimize it, you can put some useful instructions, some knobs, which is no operation, which is just fills the gap. It just fills the gap. So this super test contains around 3,000 tests, and I remember that it ran on workstation for the whole night, and some of those 3,000 tests contained like hundreds of other tests and so on and so on, so-called sub-tests. And basically that would be it. There should be a conclusion here. Yeah, Yeah, that's it. 3,000 tests, super test, over 3,000 tests. And of course, when you are testing, you are practically going in cycle. Then when something is wrong, you are going back to other phases of software development. Sometimes you need to go back to the first stage, which is analysis, which means that something is wrong, very wrong. So this is the conclusion, and that would be it for my CV folder.